Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sports Card Advantage Podcast. This is episode 22. We are recording this on August 24th at 9:56 p.m. I am Jeff, and that is Bunk. What's going on, Bunk?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Way past your bedtime, and it looks like you haven't shaved in 3 months. So we're ready to roll.
Overslept. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Well, hopefully the kids get back to school next week.
They do.
There you go. You get some peace, get some peace and quiet, and then those that are clamoring for more Bunk content, hopefully you'll have time to record that. We have a ton of stuff to get through today. So we teased it a little bit last week. For those of you that actually listened to the episode all the way to the end, I've been forgetting to do this for the last 2 weeks. So this week we are going to do it. It is something we're going to do every episode. In full disclosure, it's a way for us to try to get more people to listen to the podcast. We are going to be doing a secret card. At some point during the episode, we will pause and say, this is this week's choices for secret card. In order for you to enter to win, all you have to do is send us an email with which card you would like, and we will do a drawing for that card on the next episode with everybody that enters. So you have from when the podcast launches on Thursday until Tuesday night to enter. That is when we record. All you have to do literally is send us an email saying, hey, secret card, this is the one that I want. We'll put everybody in the randomizer and pick a winner. This week's secret cards, you have a choice of 3. Card number 1, Justin Jefferson Optic Rated Rookie Purple SGC 10. Number 2, 2018 Trae Young Red, White, and Blue Raw. Number 3, 2019 Topps High Tech Eloy Jimenez Auto out of 50. For this week, since it's the first week, we're going to do it at the top of the episode. For coming weeks, we're going to do it at different times during the episode. So basically, you have to listen or go find it and fast forward in order to see the secret cards. The more people that we get to listen to the podcast, to send us emails and tell us what they want, we will continue to escalate and elevate the prices of the cards that we're giving away. So please share when you do win with everybody. Please share the podcast anyway. That's info@sportscardadvantage.com. Second, we're going to be doing a Sports Card Advantage Fantasy Football League, or leagues, depending on how many people we get to enter. It will be a 12-team league. And if you would like to participate, send us an email to info@sportscardadvantage.com and let us know, put in the subject line fantasy football, and we will be setting up online drafts, probably through NFL.com. Seems to be a good site to use for that. So however many multiples of 12 as far as what we do, what we get into, we'll set up that many leagues. And then we'll do prizes for the winners of each league, probably $100 to $200 card for each winner. And then we'll do, we'll do a big prize for whoever scores the most points in any of the leagues. We'll do a bigger prize for like a $300 card. So if you want to participate, Bunk and I will take one team in each league and play against all of you. We'll talk about updates, et cetera, on the podcast, and we'll see who can win our fantasy league. Go ahead, Bunk.
Don't draft Travis Etienne.
Yes, that's a little tease for Dr. Bunk later in the episode. And last but not least, for business, we are starting a Discord room. If you would like an invite, it's under Sports Card Advantage as the name. Just pop in there or send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com. We will send you a link to join. We'll be setting up a general chat room for talking about cards, and then we'll also be setting up a couple of other rooms for looking at card charts and or selling cards, as well as potentially a room for if you're thinking about getting some of your raw cards graded, if you want other eyes on it to see what people think.
Fantasy Smack Talk.
And a Fantasy Smack Talk room as well. I think that's it for business. Once again, for everything, if you need to reach us, info@sportscardadvantage.com. Our social media handles are sportscardadvtg across Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We have some new content coming for social here for you guys soon, so keep your eyes open on that. We've been a little dormant for the last month or so on social, but we're going to get that up and rolling again. Anything else?
I think you covered it all, dude.
Fantastic. All right, so moving on, since it's been such a crazy few weeks worth of news, we're going to do a quick news roundup on everything. I think there has been a few more details that have surfaced about PWCC, so we'll talk about that first. It seems to me that PWCC is moving on and doing their own thing. So the question I have for you, Bunk, is do you believe in the conspiracy theories that eBay decided to basically give them take them down a peg because they were starting their own platform and kick them in the ass on their way out?
So you're suggesting eBay took it upon themselves to strike them down? You're telling me they knew about the new platform ahead of time?
So I think obviously I think eBay knew about the platform, and I actually listened to the interview on Sports Card Nonsense with one of I think his name is Jesse, business development director. He said that they were given basically no notice that this was happening, and they've also been provided no proof that shill bidding actually happened. But he also made the definitive statement that there will never be another PWCC auction on eBay again.
Wow. I mean, they must have something in place if they're going to move this quickly.
Yeah.
I know Golden already backed up a dump truck to the vault saying, load it up if you want it.
Yeah, I mean, Golden definitely did not miss an opportunity to take some shots at PWCC while they were down. And basically you have a bunch of rich guys in a pissing contest right now, and Golden taking shots and PWCC firing back, and so there's a bunch of stuff going on with that. But in my opinion, I think that it's good because you'll have competition. You'll have different large companies putting out different ways for you to buy and sell, so that you don't have necessarily just a single marketplace that's the biggest out there. I mean, taking PWCC off eBay shrinks eBay sports card market by 5 to 10%. So with them opening up, it could mean additional competition and more places for you to buy and sell, which is great.
But I think the biggest thing too is PWCC was going to do this anyway. They know they're going to have more money in their pockets now, and everyone else is going to say, well, hey, I want more money in my pockets, and they may do their own thing. But how many people are big enough to do that?
Well, I mean, they did $150 million in sales in the first 6 months of 2021 on eBay alone. So, they got a few dollars floating around. And I think the biggest thing for them to be able to do right now is clear their name on the shill bidding. And if eBay has yet to provide any concrete proof, and just basically challenge
But do they have to already?
Does who have to?
Does eBay?
Well, no.
Are they filing suits? Did PWCC actually file suit like they threatened?
So that's what this guy Jesse said on the interview today. He said when you're going to consider suing a company like eBay, there's a lot more involved than just filing a lawsuit. I mean, eBay is a multi-billion-dollar company, so if you're going to try to throw rocks at Goliath, you better make sure you're going to hit him, or else you're going to waste a lot of time and money. So PWCC may just tuck it in and go launch their own stuff and not sue anybody, and then eBay never has to provide that proof.
Right, but PWCC still walks away looking bad.
Yeah, they walk away with a black eye. But at the same,
and you're suggesting maybe that was eBay's goal.
That's what I'm suggesting as the potential thing. But with that being said, if eBay never provides any proof, I don't know if PWCC's name is as tarnished as it could be provided if eBay released some smoking gun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know all the legal stuff, but yeah, if eBay is not going to tell me how they know or what they know, then I don't care, and it never happened.
Yeah, and I think that now that this has come to light, I don't think it slows anybody down on PWCC stuff. I think people are still going to be bidding on it, and
no, like we talked about last week. If you know your stuff and you do your homework, and I mean, it's on you if you bid a card up $5,000 more than it's actually worth.
Yep,
and keep going with it.
I would agree. And
you have outs. It's not like when someone's shilling, you're caught.
Yeah. Agreed. And, for the purposes of all this, unless PWCC has some other announcements or eBay puts out some sort of other additional evidence, I'm going to consider it dead. Everybody and their mother in the sports card world is talking about this. So, I'm going to try to have us keep talking about different stuff instead of the old run-of-the-mill, but, we'll still talk a little bit about it. With that being said, we'll move on to Fanatics. We purposely did not put any content out about Fanatics when all the news broke because nobody knows shit.
I'm still trying to understand what I've read.
Yeah, everything right now, as far as anything other than the fact that Fanatics now owns the rights to put out baseball and basketball cards when the deals expire. Nobody knows shit. There's all this speculation, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. Are they going to buy the rights? Are they not going to buy the rights? Are they going to overprint? And it's all a bunch of fucking sewing circle old ladies just chattering about, speculation. And the bottom line is nobody knows. So we're not going to speculate on anything. What more than likely is going to happen, which was also rumored, is that Fanatics will also acquire the rights to the NFL. More than likely, that deal is still being worked on because it's going to be the largest out of the three. And then once that happens, I'm sure that Fanatics has some other moves in place, and we will wait to see what those are. I would highly doubt Topps and Bowman brands are going to go away because they've been around for so long. But
what are their options? Licensing the name to Fanatics?
Yeah. That's what I think is going to happen because everybody's like, oh, Fanatics is just going to buy Topps because they're so much more valuable. I don't think Fanatics wants any part of the Topps candy business, which is 65% of Topps' sales.
No, they want the cards.
Yeah, they want the cards and that's it. I don't think they want to sell fucking Ring Pops and Bazooka Joe bubblegum. So I think that there may be a licensing deal with that possibly, but, everybody's like, well, what about Prism and what about National Treasures and what about this, what about that? But these brands haven't been around that long. So Fanatics comes out with their own brand of rookie patch autos that look as good as National Treasures and is called something else. I don't know if anybody misses it that much.
No, if all those other brands disappear and Fanatics puts out the comparable product, you know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's all getting bought.
Yeah, exactly.
And they know that. They know that.
I mean, National Treasures is less than 10 years old. Prism is less than 10 years old. All these big brands are less than 10 years old. And then the thing that I thought was very interesting that Ken Golden talked about, I'm not a huge Golden fan, but he does bring up some points. He's like, the Upper Deck brand is still floating around out there. And they have access. They have the rights to Jordan, LeBron, Tiger, Gretzky. And Upper Deck put out some pretty awesome products back in the day that were high-end. And they can probably acquire Upper Deck for a lot cheaper than they can acquire Panini. So if they acquire Upper Deck and then put out some of their own new stuff, Panini brands just disappear.
So if I understand this correctly, nothing will change for Panini baseball stuff, right? They're gonna do. They can do the same old no logo stuff.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same point, do they do that, or do they get just try to sell off, or do they do the same thing that Topps may do? Sell their. I mean, nobody knows. I mean,
that's what I mean. We could spend 2 hours with all the possibilities.
Yeah. So there's a lot of options out there for those. Some people are panicking, selling, and this and that. I mean, dude.
No, the old dudes like myself are like, damn, no more Topps. How can that be? I mean, I get it.
I don't think so. I don't think Fanatics.
You don't think so? I think that people mad there will be no more Topps. If Topps disappeared.
What I'm saying is, I don't think Topps is going to disappear. I think that
I would agree with you, but that's usually what I'm reading every day right now.
Yeah, well, it's because you old men like to come up with conspiracy theories and yell at each other about being on their lawn and all types of other things that you old men do. But
I've been calm so far today.
Yeah, I'm waiting. The people want the fired up Bunk. That's what they pay their money to come see.
I don't give a crap about Fanatics.
Yeah,
I'll wait till something's definitive and contracts expire, and then I'll get mad about my opinion.
Yeah, I think for the time being that all this will be worked out in the next 6 months.
Yeah, we still got 5 years of top products left, I believe, before they lose it. So I mean, people are gonna forget about this real quick until Fanatics starts teasing you.
I don't think that Fanatics is gonna let it go that long. They can't.
Oh, okay.
They can't. They can't take the risk that Topps overproduces and dilutes the brand.
Okay.
It's just they can't basically take the risk that Topps fires up the printers and makes every last cent that they possibly can. By the time Fanatics takes over rights, that baseball cards went through a mini junk wax era for the next 3 years until the license expires.
Yeah, $900 a box next year for Topps Chrome. Can't wait.
Yeah. So we'll see. Once again, we fell prey to the speculation, but I think that it'll all get worked out in the next 5 or 6 months. I don't think Fanatics is going to leave people in the wind. I think once the NFL deal gets done, that's when they start making other announcements. But that deal is going to be much more lucrative than the NBA or MLB deal, just because football makes a lot more money than the other two sports.
A lot more money.
All right, moving right along. Today, our main event topic of conversation is when to buy football rookies. With new products coming out every week, all pro uniform, everybody's super excited, getting into breaks, buying singles, buying this, buying that. Do you recommend buying NFL rookies between now and, let's say, when Prism drops?
I mean, me personally, no. I mean, but full transparency, I don't collect a lot of football, but you could say the same thing for baseball, I suppose. But and you'll talk to this because when you got back into it last August, I think Mosaic had just came out. You were already signed. You were all into the shiny new and all that stuff.
Dude, do you know how many Josh Kelly patch autos that I overpaid for?
And they were cool ass cards. And
well, I mean, Josh Kelly had sleeper hype for fantasy. He had autos. You could buy him patch autos. They were like $40 or $50, and now they're worth like $7. So
nothing. But if you believe in Josh Kelly, what should you do today?
Nothing.
I would go search 2020 rookie card. Go search last year's rookie cards and buy them because you're going to get much better value for your buck than trying to compete with everyone jumping in on the product as it releases. But generally speaking, any new product that comes out, the first 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, all the singles are off the charts. All cards out of 25, 50, 100, people want to be the first ones to get them, and especially if they're player collectors, and they're paying through the nose for these cards. And then 6 months later, the sixth one out of 10 comes out, and you got it for half the price.
Yeah. So the only exception here is if you can get in early and flip. If you can get in early and flip them, by all means, do what you got to do. If you're going to be holding it for any amount of time, the rookies you want to be buying right now are 2020 rookies. So look at your Burrows and Tuas and CD and some of the other guys that got hurt. So their stuff may be real cheap. Ruggs and Jalen Reagor, all first-round guys that if you bought this stuff when it first came out, it was stupid expensive, and way overpriced. And if you waited until the off season or even now, I mean, some of this stuff isn't moving yet because these guys haven't stepped foot on the field. We'll be talking about Burrow in a little bit for the investment section. His stuff is still, unless you're buying the really high-end rookie patch autos, his base stuff and even some of his parallels are still relatively cheap. And there's not high pops. So, all this stuff because of the grading fiasco with PSA, pops are low. So you can either get stuff raw, get it graded with SGC or HGA, or if it's valuable enough with PSA and have something that's low pop, that you can resell for a lot of money. So in our opinion, 2020 rookies are what you should be looking at. 2021, unless you're going to flip it quick or get into breaks because you want to participate in the excitement, I would stay away. So then the next logical question that people are going to have is, well, what about the 5 quarterbacks?
I mean, again, even with them, they're going to go for more right off the bat because of the hype around those guys. And unless they become Hall of Famers, you're not going to see those prices.
Even so, I'm going to bring up Herbert. And Herbert was Rookie of the Year and all this other stuff. And even if you look at his initial release prices until now, there was a pretty significant drop off. So when Herbert cards first came out for Prism, PSA 10, 1200, 1100, 900, 1000, and then they leveled out over the summer at literally half. He was Rookie of the Year, best season for a rookie quarterback in a while, and his stuff literally dropped by half in the offseason. So, no matter how good Wilson or Fields or any of these guys play, wait, because it will eventually drop to a price that's going to be probably half of what it is when it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, and like we always talk about, that's when you want to get in on something. You're going to hold it long term. You don't want to buy it at its peak.
Yeah,
and especially with football and especially with quarterbacks and the top offensive players, peak is usually that first month or two after any release.
Yep. I mean, and even some of the higher end stuff, still had a drop off. So let's look at silver. Silvers came out in the $5,000 range.
These are Herbert PSA 10 silvers you're looking
Herbert PSA 10 silvers. $4,000 to $5,000, peaked at $6,200, sold in July for $2,500. So, that definitely.
So why am I buying that right after release for $6,200?
Exactly. So, sit on your hands, tuck your FOMO away, and don't look at 2021 unless, obviously we're gonna get in breaks because we want to get in on the action. We want to have some fun. But don't be looking for singles for investment purposes. This stuff will drop off eventually.
Well, I think that's the key for investment purposes. Obviously, the gamblers and us are going to get into breaks and hope we hit big.
Yeah, of course. Give me.
That's not going to stop me from opening product or getting in product. I'm just not going to sit there and be bidding on Trevor Lawrence's all night.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that you may want to look at is sealed wax. Buy a box and sit on it. And it was with this class, 2020 wax is definitely appreciated in value, and then 2021 wax, have to imagine the same thing with the 5 quarterbacks, especially if any of these guys turn out to be good.
Oh, and if there's enough chase cards in any kind of sealed product, you'll hold better value in the unopened box than you will in, as you just discussed, in some of the greater higher end cards.
Yep. So
just because of the pure thought that I might pull something I can get graded that high, the wax keeps its price.
Yeah, absolutely. Sit tight. We actually benefited from this. We picked up recently a Justin Jefferson silver auto prism and submitted it to PSA because literally came back in a redemption. It was still in the Panini sealed case. And this thing was absolutely sparkling clean, so we sent it off to PSA. We're going to roll the dice, pay the $200, And hopefully the PSA 10 pop of 1 becomes a PSA 10 pop of 2. But we got a good price on it raw because it was,
Dude, I sent it this morning.
Yeah.
I literally sent it this morning. It is beautiful.
Yep.
And from what I know of PSA, this thing might come back at 12.
Yeah, guy, 12. PSA 12.
There's nothing wrong with this card. If it doesn't come back at 10, I'm gonna be shy, especially from PSA.
God forbid.
I'll retire from cards if this thing's on a 10.
If this thing doesn't come back at 10, the rant of all rants will come from Bunk on PSA. So,
well, no, that means they listened to me and they just decided to stick me.
Yeah, I highly doubt PSA is listening to this podcast right now. All right. With that being said, so yeah, look at guys like Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Judy, your quarterbacks. Try to find good prices on some of that stuff. I mean, your non-quarterbacks, are relatively affordable right now. Either getting stuff raw or getting it graded. But just do your homework, do your research. It's a good opportunity for that, especially, you could have some guys that didn't have great seasons last year that could come back and break out. So those are the types of players that we'd be looking for. 2020 rookies and 2021 stuff, just buy into some breaks, have some fun with it. But if you're looking for singles for longer term investments, wait until June or July of 2022. That's when you'll get your best prices.
Yeah, but think about it. Say you got $1,000 to spend. You're not gonna be able to get as much of 2021 new release of those guys to flip, even if you are in it quick and trying to turn around. I can get way more on guys I think might have good breakout seasons, to your point, from 2020 or earlier with that $1,000 and make much more money that way.
Yep. Yeah.
I still got to be right, but
for example,
there's a lot more meat on the bone that way.
Yeah, guys like Antonio Gibson, perfect example. You can get Antonio Gibson RPAs all day for $40 or $50. All day long you can get those cards.
And furthering our discussion on, how 2020 was a weird year and all the records breaking in 2021, it's going to be interesting to see now these 2020 and earlier rookies. Are they going to stay the course and stay where they are, or are we actually going to see some fluctuations up and down?
Yep.
I'm really curious to see, especially a guy like Antonio Gibson, who was really high because he was playing really well. And I expect him to do the same again this year. I'll be really interested to see if there's any movement in a significant manner on his cards or guys like him.
Yeah. I mean, him, Claypool, CeeDee, these guys could finish top 10, wide receiver running backs, and, we'll see if their cards get a bump. And you're also talking about anything that's graded, no matter who graded it, SGC, HGA, or PSA, the pops are significantly lower than they usually are because of the costs to get things graded. So if you got a really clean card, look for raw. It's not the worst time to try to do that. All right, we got to keep moving here. Let's talk this week's investments. We got 2 this week, 1 baseball, 1 football. I'll let you kick us off with Mr. Robert.
Yeah, so I was doing some of my prep for the kind of guys I'm going to buy in the off season and looking for guys that are going to be called up soon, things for quick flips and such. But all the likely candidates, in my opinion, we can go over this on another segment, certainly when we get into some off-season baseball, because that's my favorite time of year for baseball cards is the off-season. So I decided to look at World Series or playoff-bound individuals whose cards should be higher than they are. And we settled in on 2020 Topps Chrome Lou Bob Refractor.
All right.
PSA 10s and 9s. I believe you have the 10 chart for us.
Yes, I do have the PSA 10 chart. And for those...
So you can see the last sale there and take us through how far off its high it is.
Yes, this thing peaked at 550 and then some other peaks at 450 and 460. Once again, this chart looks almost identical to the Tua silver chart that we looked at last week. Some significant peaks in the past, year, but then it has literally been flat, for the past 3 or 4 months. Last sale, 177. The low in the last few months is 148. And the pop on this is
1190 on the PSA 10.
Yeah, 1198 on the PSA 10. With the White Sox locked up as far as like division winners and potential World Series, sky's the limit, for this.
Yeah, and he's a young player. Everyone knows and thinks he's a stud. He's back from his injury. He's hitting. He's playing at a high level. I'm actually shocked that it isn't higher right now, but that's for us maybe to take advantage of right now.
Yeah, and it's a refractor, and the population's relatively low, so you have two options for this. You either A, can hold it for longer term, because the White Sox, as far as I know, aren't really going anywhere anytime soon. They have a really solid young core. Or you can flip it for playoff hype. You have to figure if he's on national TV hitting bombs that his card should go up.
Yeah, I mean, I have no reason to believe that this could easily be a quick flip come October, or again, it's a third of one of its peaks. So if you're a Lou Bob fan or a Lou Bob believer, now's the time to buy it, as opposed to 12 months ago.
Yep, and this card is right in the wheelhouse of the pricing that we usually cover, $150 to $200, affordable, with good potential to make a little bit of money.
And if you really want to go dive in, most Beckett 9.5s of almost any parallel. I mean, I saw Pinks, Prisms, a few other of his card. They're all under $100. BGS 9.5s, all low pops. The refractor alone only at 55. So some of your Pinks and your Prism, they're coming in even less. They can all be had under $100 right now.
Yeah, and that's definitely, especially with baseball, BGS still is really solid, and that's under $100 or BGS 9.5 for a non-base is fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. I love his buy on this card on almost any parallel on BGS.
Cool. All right. So the next item up for bid, we have Joe Burrow. We're going to look at the Joe Burrow Donruss Optic Hollow. So unfortunately on Card Ladder, the only one that they have is the 10, but we're going to be talking about the 9. Just give me 1 second. I don't know why it's not coming up. So the PSA 9 right now, last sale was $155. There's been a couple sales in the last week. We'll use the 10 chart as just a way to look at where the pricing's been. Once again, Burrow hasn't been on the field for preseason. People don't know his status as of yet as far as how he's going to look coming off the injury. So this is a little bit of a gamble for you, but at the same time, he's got more weapons this year. And so if you are a Burrow believer, I have to imagine as soon as he sets foot on the field for real games, throwing touchdown passes, those cards are going to shoot up. So you're also looking at a situation where these cards have closed as high as $500 to $600. So 3 or 4x where we are now. So there's definitely some good possibility for growth. The only caveat here is the pops are somewhat low on these. So definitely maybe looking at, instead of PSA, SGC or HGA options. But either way, if you can find the PSAs, they are out there. There's, as I said, a few that sold just in the last few days. Or look at, for some of the other graded options.
And interestingly enough, I think I just saw a BGS 9, which there's only 20 of, sold for just about, I think it ended at $149. So very similar to the PSA 9, which is interesting.
Yeah, so you have some Burrow options out there that are affordable to get in on the Burrow market. I think he's going to come out and play well this year. He's one of the guys that I want a part of. Tua's another one. Josh Allen is another one that I love to have some shares of. We do have a couple of his cards that we picked up. Started scouting a little bit on his autos, but those are obviously a lot more expensive. Anything else for us on the investment section this week?
No, sir. I think we're good.
Alrighty, so we're gonna do something a little different this week for Hot Take. For full,
is this your get off my lawn moment?
This is my get off my lawn moment. So for full disclosure, this is something Bunk really didn't want to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. So there's somebody that I've seen on Instagram basically pitching a advisory service, for sports cards. And
a paid advisory.
Yes, a paid advisory service. And since we do basically advisory stuff on here, I keep my eyes and ears open for other people that are doing it. And there are some other podcasts, they do it for free. They give you some ideas and all this stuff. So when there's a paid advisory service, it really sets off an alarm in my head. My background is in the financial trading space. I worked for brokers. I knew people that ran trading advisory services, and most of them, to be honest with you, were bullshit. And most of these guys were good marketers and good salespeople, but they couldn't trade for shit. And, before I say this, I will throw out a disclaimer that if the claim that I'm about to make is wrong, I apologize. However, this is an attempt at a public service announcement, and also an attempt for the person that runs this Instagram channel and this advisory service to provide some actual results, as opposed to just typing stuff in on Instagram saying that you made all this money and you're doing so well, buying and selling these cards. And the reason why I'm calling this out is just because it does not make sense to me, as far as what he is claiming that he has done with his quote-unquote group of traders. He has 41,000 followers on Instagram. The name of the Instagram channel is Sports Card Invest, very similar to Jeff and his Sports Card Investor, which I also think is somewhat shady. But I'm going to read you his most recent post and then break this down for you as far as why I'm calling this out. This week's report will release our premium, yearly, and deluxe members. Over the last 6 weeks, our membership group has been on absolute fire, as our members have doubled their money on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's 1986 Fleer PSA 10, nearly doubled their money on Steph Curry's 2009 Exquisite, gained 60% on LeBron's 2003 Topps Chrome, 50% on Giannis Green Prism, 100% profit on Russell Westbrook's Topps Chrome, and tripled their money on Booker's National Treasures. If you'd like to join in on the profit, head to the link in my bio and join the program. He charges $99 a year for basic service and $2,000 a year for his quote-unquote premium. So I'm going to take just 3 of these and break down what he just said. So first and foremost, the 1986 Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 1986 Fleer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar PSA 10 claims that his group, quote unquote, is making all this money. Number one, there's only 94 PSA 10 Kareem Abdul-Jabbars in existence in the pop report. That's number one. Anytime there's a card with a pop of less than 100, the likelihood that an entire group of people is buying and selling that card for profit is next to nothing. Number two, there's only been 2 eBay sales on this card in the last 90 days. So if there is a whole group of people, unless you have access to a private reservoir of cards, because I looked at some of the other places that sell graded slabs and none of them have sold this card in the last 90 days. So I'm calling BS on the fact that your group is making all this money buying and selling this particular card. Number two, 2013 Giannis Green Prism. There's 36 of these PSA 10s. So I don't even have to say that. There's 36. An entire group of people is not going to be buying and selling this card. It's just that there's probably 32 of them that are sitting in a private collection somewhere and not even close to the market. So I just don't think that it's something that any group's buying and selling. Number three, 2009 Exquisite Steph Curry. Total cards graded of the entire 2009 Exquisite Steph Curry series is 86. There's less than 10 sales on this card in the last 90 days. This is all eBay stuff, but I checked Golden, I checked PWCC, I checked some of the other places. There's not any sales of these cards in the last 90 days. So unless this group is all private sales, if this person is doing it just on his own, I'll say sure, maybe one person doing it on his own, but you're making the claim that your entire group is making all this money, where I don't think these cards are available.
Do they own the cards as a group? Like there's one card and they all own it? Or did one dude make money on it that he advises? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have any kind of significant, like he has a private Instagram, there's 2,300 people in this private Instagram. So if
of course. So they're not all buying the same card, but I'm saying if one person in the group and one of those cards sells, can he make that claim?
Not in my opinion.
Okay, that's why I'm asking.
Because if you're sending something out to me that I can't acquire because it doesn't exist, or there's minimal sales, you're making the claim and you're leading people to believe that they're going to be able to take this information and actually, make money. The difference between what he's doing and what we're doing, A, we're doing it for free, and B, all the stuff that we're doing has enough pop out there that you can go find it.
Wouldn't one of his paid people say that's BS?
Well,
he has that many followers. Wouldn't he be trashed on social media?
If you look at his Instagram, all the comments and everything else don't exist. They don't exist. So there's next to no comments for any of this stuff. And so I just can't buy it. So once again, this is an attempt for me to call this person out. I have no idea who he is. I don't have a personal relationship with him. It's not meant for me to try to hurt his business at all. It's more meant to, I have a lot of experience with guys that overhype and oversell what their trading signals, quote unquote, and can't actually back it up. And I think that's the situation that we're in here. I would love to see the proof that his group, quote unquote, is making money on these cards.
Yeah, I mean, my big reservation was because I had said to you when we were discussing this is how do we account for private sales? Like we can't account. He could just count and say, oh, my boy X sold it on Facebook for this much, and he made X percent. How do we track that or tell him he's wrong?
So that also is, if you look at some of the claims that he makes as far as the increase in prices, that those numbers also don't jive.
Okay, well then you have nothing to stand on if the numbers don't make sense. But
some of the percentage increases that he claims in the last 9 to 12 weeks or whatever it is, or 6 weeks, they don't jive. He's claiming 100% and maybe 50%, or it started at 3,000 and went to 6,000, and then 3 or 4 more sales after that. So with one-off type of things, and there's so low pops and there's so minimal sales, even if some of this shit's happening privately, from the statistics that I understand, 80% of all sports card transactions happen on eBay. As far as
right. So the big takeaway listening to you here is if I'm reading that Instagram post and I want to pay $99 for his services, he's going to have to show me more than that post before I'm a client.
Yes. Yeah, he has other tiers. $99 the lowest one, $2,000 a year is the highest one, and there's some stuff in between. All I'm saying, once again, the message that we keep pounding into people's heads is do your homework. Read the claims, see if shit makes sense, ask for proof. Like, I want to see the buys and sells. I want to see, where did you buy this card? Where did you sell this card? Show me the transactions. And
they can't all be private record, because then how are we supposed to believe you?
No, I don't think they're all private record, and I don't think there's a quote-unquote group of 2,000 people that are buying and selling this stuff. So once again, this is not an attempt to cause anybody financial harm. This is more of a public service announcement of something that didn't smell right to me. So I wanted to bring it to people's attention, for people to do their own research and make sure that if you were going to pay for this service, that you did your homework before you handed over any money. All right, I am stepping down off my soapbox, and I will actually turn this over to you, sir. This is this week's segment of Dr. Bunk. We have a hyped rookie who came into the league, drafted in the first round by the Jacksonville Jaguars, Travis Etienne. He left the game with a foot injury. So provide us an update on what the injury is, how long you anticipate him to be out, and whether or not you feel there's any long-term implications, from this injury as far as future performance.
Well, a couple of things came out since we first talked about this. He's on IR. He's done for the year. It's his season's over. The whatever additional testing they did on him revealed a significant Liz Frank sprain. I can get into a little bit of the logistics there without overcomplicating it. But why the Liz Frank sprain is important and why it's difficult and to recover from, or why it's important for athletes is it's where you push off from. So your explosion and your jump off the line and your acceleration, you're pushing off through the front of your foot, and that's usually the mechanism of injuries in that position. A running back got a guy hanging on him from behind, and he's trying to push through. But his injury is enough. With that ligament fails, your bones, the long bones in your foot, literally move in places they shouldn't go, and you can't push off through the foot at all. There's no playing through pain. It's just the strength is just not there. They came out right and said it's a significant injury. So, did he have a shot if he had surgery right away to maybe come back the end of the year if all went well? There was a shot. But generally speaking, if it's as significant it is, that he's not even going to be in a sneaker till 4 or 5 months from today.
And do you anticipate this potentially, so the next question is, guys are going to obviously be looking for deals. His cards, because he's out, because he's not playing, he could potentially be a significant rookie. He could have been a significant rookie playing with, drafting off Lawrence a little bit. So do you anticipate, from these types of injuries, do guys come back 100% and he'll be able to play going forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's some contradictory studies on return to play and to the level of performance you were at prior. There's some studies to suggest that more so offensive players and defensive players do not return fully. There's some studies that suggest only 80-85% of NFL players make it back after this. But the biggest takeaway for Etienne, if you want to invest in him and stuff, the 2016 study from the American Journal of Sports Medicine concluded that there was no significant changes to a player's career following the surgery.
Okay.
They didn't see, there was no statistical significance to their performance and their length of their career after this injury. So the big thing, what are the probable complications afterwards? You're pretty prone to arthritis in the area after an injury like this. So and 1 in 3 people after a surgery like this have pain forever in that spot. But the purpose of the surgery, though, is it's going to restore that stability so he can push off and be the elite level player he was. He just might have to deal with some discomfort. So would it shorten his career? Only in a rare circumstance where the arthritis was so bad in his foot that he just couldn't, he can't push off the way he wants to. But a running back relies on his explosion, relies on his first step, relies on his push off. So, could there be complication in the future? Yeah, there can be. I can't predict that. But do I feel good about if I wanted to buy it? And can he have a nice long NFL career? He absolutely can have a long NFL career.
So with that being said, your best bet on this stuff, once again, wait until the product comes out.
Rock bottom. I'm waiting until rock bottom on him. If I love this guy and I'm a Jags fan and I want to get in on him, for me personally, because of what I do, I think everyone's injury prone. So, I mean, you could cut your elbow and I label you injury prone. So for me personally, I wouldn't go heavy in terms of the long term because you just never know. I mean, you can't take the injury away. It's there. It happened and it's a part of him now. But for short terms, I think he can come back and play for a while at a high level. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So your best bet is, if you want to be in Travis Etienne, wait a couple months after the product comes out. And more than likely what will probably happen is his stuff will bottom out in springtime. And before any kind of football activity starts happening and people start reporting that, he's back to running or this or that, whatever it is, that's the time you want to buy before they start talking about that. So that
you're not going to see videos
bottom.
of him jogging till December or January. So that, to your point, you got time to wait.
Yeah, by the December or January, Jacksonville will be out of the playoff race, and nobody will care. So
people are already buying baseball. So yeah.
January, February, if you're looking to get some discounts that you can potentially sit on until next season, January, February, mark it off on your calendar to look at some of his RPAs. They will probably be dirt cheap.
Yeah. And again, because they put him on IR and they keep claiming it's such a significant injury, they don't have no need to rush him along. So there's all sorts of stuff he can do in the 3 months where he's not allowed to put a whole lot of weight on his foot, and they're going to keep him strong as an ox so that once he's cleared, foot wise to start putting weight on it, he's ready. He's gonna, he'll ramp up quickly. But first round pick, no need rushing back. That's why they immediately put him on IR.
Yep. And for those of you who have your fantasy drafts coming up, James Robinson moving up the draft board. All right. We will close out with Peanut Gallery. We got a couple of questions that came in this week. Once again, if you want to submit a question for the podcast, there ain't a long line right now, so we'll definitely be reading it on the podcast. Send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com, or hit us up on any of our social media channels, SportsCardADVTG, and we will answer your question on next week's podcast. First and foremost, talking about Anthony Davis, shout out to Ben for some really nice comments he sent us in an email, also asking the question, just wondering your opinion on Anthony Davis. His 2012 rookies are down a lot. It seems like the Lakers will get a ton of attention this season. So we will bring up Anthony Davis rookies.
Yeah, LeBron loaded up, I heard.
Yes, LeBron did load up, you heard. PSA 10 pops 1480. Unfortunately, Ben, if you would have sent us this question, about 6 weeks ago, that would have been fantastic.
Wow, he's already seeing a boost, huh?
Yeah, he's already seeing a boost.
Wow.
In the beginning of July, his PSA 10s are at 700. Last sale was 936. But the good news here is these cards peaked at 3,500.
Wow. Okay. So you would still that's still something you would look at. That's low enough for you to.
I still think you have another easily 30 or 40% on these cards. You had two other peaks in January during the season at 2,500 and 2,500. So you hit 2,500 twice, and then one buy it now sale of 2,700. And that was at the beginning, during basketball season. I still think that this card has room. If $1,000 is out of your price range, you can definitely look at the PSA 9. PSA 9 280. This card peaked during the season at almost 800, and then last year at 1,225. So definitely some room for growth. Population less than 1,000. There are some out there that you can find. So I still think, Ben, that you have some room to pick this up and make some money. I would hold until, if you're going to buy it now, hold until you get into probably November and there's some hype around the Lakers. If the Lakers are in first place, these cards are going to shoot up. LeBron is going for one more title. And Anthony Davis is along for that ride.
Nice.
All right. Last but not least, question specifically for Bunk. Mention Bunk in the email. Shout out to Jason. Jason hit us up on Twitter. Thank you very much for sending this question and also sending some kind words. His question is, what are your favorite penny sleeves, top loaders, and one-touch or magnetic cases for standard cards and patch cards? And then if it isn't too much, could you get Bunk to please explain the process of what he packed his cards in for sending out for grading? Yeah, we did send a ton of cards out to get graded recently. So Bunk, why don't you walk us through what you like to use for supplies and then how you're packing things up for grading.
Was it Jason or James, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry, James. Excuse me. Thank you very much for correcting me.
Yeah, let me fix that for you.
Yeah, why don't you?
Yeah, supplies wise, with the friggin' pandemic, I bought anything I get my hands on that was the cheapest. So I've fallen in love with literally everything. If they protect my card, I could care less, to be honest with you. I don't really have a brand that I like more than another, BCW or Ultra Pro, or I really don't have a brand I care for more than
Ultra Pro is one of the industry standards, I guess. It's carried in most like local card stores. I can go to my card store in North Carolina, and you can go to yours in Pennsylvania, and you'll find Ultra. So if you're looking for a standby, like a brand you can stand by, Ultra is there, but it's also somewhat expensive right now because of the prices of materials.
Yeah, as long as they're not breaking down my cards, like corroding them. I mean, it's plastic and they protect it. So I don't really have a favorite. They're all the same to me personally. I know that's not helpful, but yeah, it's the truth. And what was the other question? How I pack cards for grading?
Yes, he has cards.
So all the companies have their silly differences. Friggin', it took me an hour and a half to do this PSA submission last night because it's awful, just awful. I mean, it'll go a little quicker the next time I do it, but I got too many forms and paperwork and stuff I'm reading. If I don't put the cards in the right order on the submission form, they're going to charge me 5%. Screw you. I have 2 cards. I sent 2 cards. You can't figure out which is which. You're going to charge me 5%. It's too hard for you to put them in the other order.
I got 6 text messages.
So that was it. Once I saw that pissed me off. But then they wanted in. I said last week I don't like those card savers, but I get it. It's so when someone's taking the card out, because they're not, they don't injure the card pulling it out. I've never injured a card pulling it out of a top loader personally in 40 years. I've never done it, but apparently we need card savers to stand. So pretty sure PSA, that's what they want, their cards in the card saver. Beckett wants their cards in the card saver. HGA doesn't care. So you know what HGA gets? They get top loaders from me. So same thing. HGA, SGC, PSA, BGS, they all want their cards in the right order. But for HGA, for example, if it's 5-card submission, they all get a penny sleeve, a top loader. They go in a team bag in the order that is on the form because it's hard for them. And then I wrap the team bag. I wrap that in a little bubble wrap, where I use old bubble mailers I got that are a little more cushy, and I stick it in there with some cardboard to protect it so you can't bend it. But then I send in a box anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So the cardboard is null and void, to be honest with you, because I'm putting it in cardboard. So I send every graded card submission in a small flat rate priority box.
All righty, that rant was brought to you by. Not sure. I'm gonna have to text the wife. You're gonna have an aneurysm.
It takes me 8 minutes to do an HGA submission of like 10 cards, and PSA, I'm sitting there. I got to get glasses out, and I'm reading the fine print, and they make you print out a stupid label to attach to your box.
Get off my lawn.
I mean, they overcomplicate. You're taking $200 from me. Do some work. I mean,
oh my God!
I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm like dead serious. Like it's that hard.
I am really going to get the "Get Off My Lawn" soundbite queued up for next week. That may have been one of the oldest man statements you've ever made. I had to get my glasses out. What are you, 75? Holy shit! Get my glasses out to see. Yes.
Come on, make it simple. Everyone else has made it simple. I know. I'm going to do it 5 more times, and it's going to go easier and more simple every time because I'm going to know.
If they send us back 10s, they can do whatever the fuck they want with their grading submission process.
Well, out of the 2, we better have at least 1.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with that card. Nothing wrong with the Jefferson.
And for those, we'll tease this a little bit. We have a new content segment that we're going to be doing coming up here. We sent a ton of stuff out to be graded. We're going to do a little version of our own of Flip or Flop, where we buy raw cards that shows are on eBay. We evaluate them, and then we send them off for grading and see if we can, make profit. We'll be releasing that stuff separate of the podcast on YouTube and social. Probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We have, 15 or 20 cards that'll be out at grading by the time we get to the end of the week. Stuff at SGC, stuff at HGA, and 2 cards at PSA, one of which is Patty Mahomes rookie. So we are fingers crossed on that for a 10.
Yeah, we have 7 officially out, and a stack to work on.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We'll be doing that here in the next few weeks, and then once again, secret card at the top of the episode. Send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com. Any questions, send us an email, info@sportscardadvantage.com. If you want to join the fantasy league, send us an email. If you want a Discord invite, send us an email. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. We have a new person that's going to be working with us on a few things, and a new project that's going to be rolling out here in the next month. So a lot of fun stuff coming. Keep listening.
And James, if you still have questions, just DM me on Twitter, and I'll walk you through any grading process you need.
Yes. DM him on Twitter. I am Bunk. So for those of you that want some more exclusive rants, send Bunk PSA content.
I'm quiet on Twitter.
All right. We've hit our hour. We are done for this week, unless you have anything else you'd like to add.
No, I'm good. I'm sweating now.
Yes. I wasn't sure if I was going to have to text the wife, tell her to get the blood pressure medication out. You might have had an aneurysm.
No. I got low blood pressure. I'm good.
All right, Guy. That's it for this week. Episode 22 in the books. We'll see everybody next week.